I'm Noreen Donahue, the Vice Chair of the Board, and I'm going to call the meeting of the Water Wastewater Commissioners to order at 11:33. We have Alan Thompson, Judith Underwood, John Goff, myself, and we have our Chair, Gary Carrera, on the phone. So with that said, I don't believe we have any public comment. So we're going to hold the minutes for March 8th and March 14th, but I would take a motion to approve the minutes of February 22nd.
So moved, Madam Chair.
And I have a second, John? All in favor? I'll take a roll call. Alan?
Aye.
Judith?
Aye.
Aye.
Gary?
Aye.
And I'm an aye. And I take those roll calls because we have somebody on remote, so we're required to do so. Next item is an abatement for 2 Lucaya Lane. Appears to be related to a frozen meter and the charges for a new meter. So I don't know if somebody can give us a little background on it.
Or I'm only looking to you because I know you usually speak to these, but so in essence, this property did have their meter crack. I think the confusion stemmed around the fact that we used to prorate the cost of a meter when it was, broken and replaced. Or I don't know that we ever did it for frozen meters, did we?
No. Negligence, frozen meters, any sort of situation like that.
We stopped doing that a few years ago because we don't pay a reduced price to replace that meter from the vendor. So I think that's where the confusion is around this, is that the property owner doesn't feel as though they should be responsible for the charge, because in an ideal situation we would have replaced that meter at year 15. However, we have hundreds of thousands of dollars, millions of backlog meter replacement that need to be done, so we still do have some in place that are well over that 15-year line.
So we do have a meter replacement program, it's just it's very backlogged.
Yes.
Right.
Do they get charged for the meter replacement?
Not if it's done on our initiation.
Where is the meter located? Is it in the basement?
Yeah. Yes, basement.
And nothing froze up above? If it froze only in the basement, usually it won't freeze in the basement.
Yeah.
Pipes
Okay.
didn't freeze?
Which I thought was,
Lucky.
We do have the meter, so if it's an option for you to choose for, it could be sent for testing, for verification. But the base plate, the freeze plate is correct.
And what would they be able to verify for us?
So the component inside, when you take the freeze plate off, there's a disc in there, and once it becomes damaged due to freezing, that actually breaks, and then hence the water comes through and it cracks the freeze plate. Whether or not that is caused in this case with the freezing, we don't know. I mean, we do know it is definitely the freeze plate, but proving without a doubt that it could have been caused by something else, we don't know. I believe this customer, this is a second property, it's not a primary residence.
Pardon me?
I believe it is not a primary residence.
Right, no, it
So-
sounded like that.
Yeah, so we don't know
yeah.
the situation as far as heating,
Right.
other areas,
If it was a frozen meter, though, we're not responsible anyway, right?
correct, that's negligence.
Right, so,
Could I ask, if it was a frozen meter, maybe John will put, wouldn't pipes have frozen too?
Pipes usually would freeze up above before they freeze down below.
Yeah.
That's why I was saying, if it's in a, that's why I asked where the meter goes. Because usually sometimes the meters will go up, if they have just a crawl, they'll bring the meter under the cabinet or something, but they have a full cellar, huh? Yeah.
I don't, but there are some properties where, even though the rest of the house is protected, some meters are actually placed really close to an unheated
Yeah.
wall or door or something, especially if it's down by the beach, or, so there are instances where the meter is in a compromised position in the property, whereas the rest of the plumbing in the house is safe. We have come across that as well.
We don't know for this particular property?
I did not talk with the technician as far as like looking at the conditions in the basement.
Because here's my take. I used to work a lot with metals, and you can have a fine crack like that
Mhm.
does happen over time. So, I don't know.
Plus it's
But-
28 years old.
It's 28 years old, we would have gotten around to it eventually, anyway.
But I guess I stumble on the part where if it was frozen, it's the customer's responsibility anyway, so even when you say that, I'm not saying I'm totally against
You know,
it.
unless it's like, unless we know it's in a place that's not heated. And then that's a challenge. The customer should have put it somewhere where it doesn't freeze. But if it's 15 years old or older and it hadn't frozen up to this point, I would suspect that there's, the metal is not as, it doesn't
Right, I
have the
gotcha.
strength to last
Yeah,
30 years,
the
I
metal
guess.
failed.
It failed.
Could have been a power failure, the heat was out too, I mean.
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know.
Not usually in the basement, I don't care how,
Well,
I mean, unless they have a
It also has been a pretty
broken
warm,
window.
pretty warm
Yeah.
winter.
If they have a
but-
broken window and the wind comes in, I've seen that many times, but
I mean, should we ask or send somebody to look at the
I
property?
don't know yet, I don't know. Alan?
You know, what troubles me is that the previous winters that have gone by, and it hadn't frozen
Right.
at that point. I question whether we got age,
right.
Yeah.
and we haven't had
Right.
that type of freezing weather this winter, you know? So
Um,
I would lean, you know,
I would agree.
Yeah.
Remember, what was it 8 years ago, we had those freezes?
Yeah.
Three
Yeah.
times in a row? I think it's an age, we're all aging, and sometimes
Mhm.
We're all aging.
We gotta give them the benefit of the
But
Yeah.
I just want to make one comment to what Dan said about the old system of prorating, and I'm not trying to change anything today, but I would make the argument that if you replace a meter every 15 years, in 50 years, you're going to have given out 3 meters, whereas if you only replace a meter every 30 years. So even though we don't pay less, it costs us less if you extend the period of
Yeah.
replacement. Just
You know, the other thing
just
too,
couldn't let that go by, sorry.
last winter, we had some real severe cold.
Yeah,
I got a hairline crack that started,
yeah.
you know. and
Because there
it-
was very little water usage, very little.
Yeah, usually you gotta sell it full of water.
Right.
it might even be an opportunity for the town to fund more summer help to get caught up on all those meters.
It's a lot of money, that's the problem.
Yeah.
But, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of meters out
So,
there.
so,
Just an
so
idea.
so if it's a condition of age, whether it was aggravated by some cold weather or other conditions that we don't know since it's seasonal, would we feel responsible if it's a result of pure age?
Yeah, I would,
Normally, I don't know what the timeline, 20 years? What is the timeline for replacement?
Well,
Till they die?
they say the battery in general is like guaranteed for, I believe it's 15 years.
Hmm.
There's a couple reasons you would want to change out a meter. Over time, the nutating disc that spins wears down and becomes less accurate, right? So if you're a big user, you would want to, make sure that that meter is up to snuff. However, on a property like this one that's using 1,000 gallons or 8,000 gallons in a quarter,
Yeah.
the return on your investment to replace that meter after 15
Right.
years is just not there. We try to prioritize replacing meters that are problematic when we have, ones that don't read,
Yeah.
things like that. So, that chews up the majority of our meter, line item within our budget. I want to say when we had initially looked at, kind of revisiting the meter replacement plan a couple of years ago, we had kind of ramped it up pre-COVID, then we had kind of stopped because we weren't going into people's houses. But there was, if I remember, over 1.3 million in meters that we would need to,
Wow.
replace beyond, I think it was 20 years or
Yeah.
timeline. Now, the way in which you do that is very important, because if you wanted to do that through a capital article at town meeting and said, we are going to replace all these meters this year, that then triggers a special appropriation, which would require the town to pay prevailing wage for the installation of those meters. So, by funding the meter replacement program within our operating budget, as a routine maintenance thing, that allows us to operate under our normal, union contracts and wages. But the second we start to go to a standalone appropriation, it has much bigger implications.
So if we had happened to go out there, if we just happened to go and saw that the meter was old, and if we had replaced it, we would have charged the person for the meter.
If we elected to replace the old meter, we would not have charged them.
Okay, that's where I struggle. I personally, I appreciate the information, but I don't see really the benefit of having it tested. I mean, whether it's age or whether it froze at this point, 27 years. You do?
I agree. No,
Oh,
I agree
okay,
with you.
yeah. So we'll throw that out. So he's got a new meter, which is good. I don't know, should we, given the age, should we consider an accommodation?
That's where I'm leaning.
Pardon me?
That's where
Yeah, I
I'm
am
leaning.
too.
Gary's talking.
I have trouble charging full price for 27 years.
Gary's.
Gary, sorry.
Yes. I'm sorry, I'm having a hard time hearing. I'm probably going to ask a duplicate question. But my first question is, it's a frozen meter, is that correct?
Yes. Well, the frozen,
And-
the frost plate is cracked on the meter.
The frost plate is cracked. So why are we replacing the meter? Because of the frost plate is cracked?
We replaced the meter, yes, in this instance because the frost plate was cracked.
And did that in any way affect the reading?
Yeah,
Well,
you can't get
It's
it.
leaking.
yeah, you wouldn't, any water that passed through the meter after that, wouldn't be an accurate reading.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And so how did we find out about this damaged meter?
Leaked on the bottom.
Yeah, it was leaking.
It was leaking. Okay. So we went out there because there was a leak at the property.
Yes.
At the meter.
All right. And then we realized the meter, right? And then we realized it was leaking, and we replaced it, and we're charging the customer the replacement of the meter.
Yes.
Do we know how the meter got damaged?
No. I mean, it's believed to have frozen, but we've had a relatively mild winter, so we're kind of all scratching our heads as to that.
I think it
Gotcha.
just might be a spot in the middle that over time, weakened.
But we have had, as Rosie just noted, we have had a couple frozen meters this year, so
Yeah.
it has happened.
But you also said that this was not a high usage meter.
Yeah, meaning looking at the usage history on a quarterly basis, they're averaging,
Right.
7,000, 2,000 gallons, 1,000, very, very small usage.
So when we go out and we choose to change out a meter at the department's discretion, we don't charge the homeowner for the meter.
Correct.
But if the meter is frozen or damaged, then we do. That's just our policy, correct?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. So the meter is in their base, it's their base, it's not a meter pit, right?
It's not a pit. I'm
Alright, so
not,
it's someone's basement.
yeah, I'm not familiar with the location of the meter in the basement. I haven't been there, but yeah.
Okay. And what's the cost of the meter?
$4.45 and 41 cents.
445, all right. So the meter is damaged, either due to a freeze or something, because it was leaking.
It's 28 years old.
How old?
28.
years old.
All right, one person at a time. Are you saying 28 years?
Yes.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, we're debating if we're gonna charge the homeowner the $4.45 for the meter. Is that what we're doing?
Yes.
And we're leaning towards not charging him because of the age and the unknown
Yeah,
reason.
I'd have a hard time with that one too.
I would say that we're leaning towards an accommodation, like maybe half, because the gentleman does have a new meter now, so he has some value. But
Yeah.
I have trouble assigning him full blame for a meter that old, so I'm trying to meet in the middle.
Right. I agree, so let's make a motion to, charge half the cost of the meter.
Just a minute, Gary.
They pay it.
Gary, just a minute. Judith?
I would argue in this particular case, from what I know about metals and the age of this device, that we should not be charging the owner.
But what I'm saying is, right now, he's got a $445 meter, brand new.
And if he had been at the top of our list of replacements, he would have had that.
He would have had it
We
anyway.
would not be charging him to put in a
Well,
new
and
meter.
then we would have
right?
been charging him to replace the frozen new meter.
But that's
No,
what-
Right.
no.
Yeah.
Well, we don't know if the new one would have frozen, you know.
It's a brand new meter.
It's a brand new meter?
Obviously froze. I mean,
Oh, if a brand new meter froze,
Yeah.
sure. But
Okay, so, we've talked it out. Does anybody have a motion?
I make
I'll
a
make a
motion to,
Just a minute, Gary.
To make the consideration that the department pay the $495.41 in this particular case, given the age of the meter and the unknown.
I'll second.
I'm going to question if you really want to say $495 rather than
Isn't it?
$445. Well,
Where's the
I realize that's
$445?
what that says, but $50 of it is a service fee. I mean, somebody had to go out there anyway,
Do
so.
we usually charge the $50?
Yeah.
Oh, so then, yes, I will amend that, sorry, thank you.
Yeah.
$445 and 41 cents. Is that correct, the number?
Yeah. Yeah. So that was a motion by Judith and a second by Alan?
Yep.
I didn't hear the motion.
All right.
The
Yes.
motion is to,
Charge a service charge and exchange the meter.
Did you get that, Gary?
No?
so we're
So
on,
the motion was to approve the abatement request in the amount of $445.41, but leave the service labor charge of $50.
which they would have received anyway.
Okay.
They wouldn't
Yeah.
have got, if you're changing the meter, you're saying if they change the meter,
Yeah.
they don't get charged.
I think for all that labor, I think
I think you're
$50
right.
is more than
I'll
reasonable.
agree with that.
Okay.
All right, so I'll take a roll call vote. Alan,
Aye?
Judith,
Aye.
Aye.
Gary,
Nay.
and I'm a nay. So, but it passes 3-2.
Yep.
So, yeah, that one. Okay. Next item is under new business, and it will be about, well, actually, it's our department phone system.
Shall I?
Yes, please.
All right, so just to refresh your memories, if you may have forgot, just because it's not a big item, but the department did switch over our phone system a year ago to the town's Microsoft account, which moved our phone system to Teams, which has been less than desirable. We, as a department, have lost a considerable amount of functionality in the way in which the phone system works. The town had also set up a handful of mailboxes that we were not notified of and went unmonitored. I know Dana's also had some phone issues out in treatment.
Missed calls from customers.
Just what you need.
Sometimes the phone doesn't ring, you'll just get a voicemail.
Yeah,
So the
Sometimes that's not until days later.
wow.
Not good.
So the department was looking to move back to our own self-managed Comcast phone system. We had a voice over IP system prior to joining on with the town. We have to figure out how that's all gonna work, but we're seeking the board's support in pursuing that endeavor.
How is the phone system, or how's the feedback from the phone system townwide?
I don't know
Okay,
how much
all right.
feedback has been provided. I know that there have been some things done with the new phone system that I didn't approve of, like turning off voicemails for different department offices and things like that.
All right,
Which
so that's like a
most departments might have
management
liked,
thing, yeah. I mean,
Unbelievable.
I'll take
Madam
discussion.
Chairman, I move that we change back to the old phone system.
I'll second that.
Amen.
Second that.
Okay, discussion. So, I don't know if we have the technical talent in the building to change back ourselves. I certainly support the spirit of your things. I mean, we have an operation to run and to have people hampered by this stuff.
Don't they just call Comcast and
Yeah,
get
that's-
over here?
The plan was to reach out to Comcast and, explain to them what we're
Reactivate.
looking to do and try to get some guidance.
Okay, so what I was saying was, is it more appropriate to write to the town and say, to notify them in some way of what we're doing or something like that?
I think they're gonna have to get involved at some point.
That's what I
as
mean.
We had to get our phone
Right.
people involved when we ported over,
Right.
so at some point, there's gonna have to be a conversation for them to authorize porting the number back over to Comcast. But I think we gotta just uncover the steps,
Right.
to do that.
So Gary, I'm wondering if maybe you as chair should write a letter to the town saying, we intend, because of X, Y, and Z reasons that have gone on for too long, it's hampering our ability to function properly. We intend to take the steps to switch back to the old phone system. Please let us know what else you may need from us to accommodate this, to accomplish this. What do you think, Gary?
Sure.
Oh, good, let's get it done.
Does the town manager know about the problems already?
Which ones?
The problems with the phones?
I have to imagine, but
Okay.
Barnstable County IT manages a lot of it
Oh, it's a
too.
countywide?
Well, it's a town,
Oh,
The
they
town's
did an
license.
enterprise system?
it's the town's enterprise software
Yeah.
through my MS, 365, that the county, through our partnership, provides IT support to the town, which includes on-phone systems.
Got it.
So no further discussion, I'll take a roll call vote. Alan?
Aye.
Judith?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
Gary?
Aye.
And I'm an aye. So we'll get that going. Okay, so next we have the skater agreement.
So before you is a contract between the town and EDR for SCADA services. We have, and I invited Dana to come just to echo some of the fun sentiments that we've been having with our SCADA system. our previous vendor, Woodard and Curran, has kind of left us with our pants down, for lack of a better term, and has been unable to
Figure it out.
complete the scope of work that they were hired to do in partitioning the water and sewer SCADA systems. And when I last contacted them to fix some reporting issues that are still ongoing, I got, we'll be out in Harwich some sunny day and we'll follow up. So,
I remember, was that that was the system you were so happy, pleased when
Yeah.
it got separated?
Yeah. And they have, yeah, there's,
Do they not have capacity or
No.
knowledge or both?
so that we had a longtime integrator with the company, a guy named Steve, who, when we brought them on in 2017, things were great. Harwich was what I would argue was a good client. We had did the big SCADA upgrade, you know, across the water system, and then we maintained a service agreement with them. Steve is really the one-man show over there, and when he went out on, you know, an injury in the middle of our middle of our scope of work that we were just trying to accomplish, the phone went silent and they didn't have anyone to come in and put things back together. And then they were trying to charge us to figure out how Steve did things previously so that they could redo them on our new system. So there's been a number of headaches that have kind of pushed us to looking for a new vendor. Russ is here as a representative of BDR, so I don't know if you wanted to say anything.
Sure. No, front row, no, I'm an important person. Thank you for having me come to this meeting. EDR is relatively a new entity to the Cape Cod region, but it is filled with a bunch of familiar faces, and one of them, a gentleman named Dustin Sedlak. He is an expert with SCADA integration. I've known Dustin going back to 2003 when we both worked at Stearns & Wheeler. Dustin did the majority of the work at various towns on Cape Cod for a lot of the large plants. Has a intimate knowledge of Cape Cod. He physically lives in New York, so of course the immediate question is, okay, this guy's great, but he lives in New York. So, while a decent amount of the work can be done virtually, you always need boots on the ground. You need people to report, especially if it's modifications, things that have to be done to a station. So, we work in Tangent, and we are very excited to announce that we put out a position for an automation engineer at our Hyannis office, and we're hoping to fill that next Monday with a gentleman that lives in Wareham. So combined with Dustin, his team of multiple automation engineers, local support with myself and Bobby Sylvester when he begins, we feel we can provide the services that the town needs. We have a very good understanding of what the requirements are. We currently have contracts. We do water SCADA for the Katuitt Water Department, where Dustin is a leader for that, and I've gone out numerous times to Katuitt on FaceTime and all these different great technological bits that we have and help solve problems. And also we're working in the town of Chatham, doing a lot of their SCADA work now as well. We have proposals into the town of Provincetown for their water department, and are talking with Orleans as well.
Any questions?
No? Sounds great
No.
to me.
And I'm always the point of contact. I'll give my cell phone number to anybody, and you call 24/7, and you will
And
get a call back.
I'll take it.
Because SCADA is probably one of the more, it's a wildly, it's funny, over the last 20 years of doing this, you know, first starting, you hear SCADA, what is scuba SCADA, what is it, you know? But you realize what it does when you see these plants and how they're run, and the importance of it. And you can't be ignored.
I was
From
around
that long.
when SCADA was first coming into the electrical world in the 90s, so quite a revolution.
It is,
No
and
question.
it's tremendously powerful, but you
Yeah.
can't ignore it. You know, it's put in place so when a system goes down or something happens, you get response, and that response needs to be there. So I live locally. Majority of our office staff lives on this side of the bridge as well. And we have a list of references that we can also provide if you want to make phone calls.
So I have one question for Dan. Do you feel that this amount is sufficient to cover our needs?
Yeah, so we actually had, Dustin was out from New York doing a big upgrade in Chatham. He came over, sat with myself, Dana, Billy, at the time, the wastewater operator over in Chatham, and kind of drilled through our list of immediate needs. And this is what we put together.
He will be at, next Tuesday and Wednesday. He's gonna be out, I totally forgot to ask you.
He's coming, we scheduled for him, assuming
There you
what
go.
was the contractor, he was coming
You don't even need me.
to the
Yeah.
download on Wednesday.
And the fact that it's just a smidge over your 50,000 limit is a non-issue?
That's why it's before you.
Oh, okay, all
Yeah.
right, that
The
makes sense.
threshold, if
Yeah.
it's above a month, the
Yeah.
board.
Over 50, the board.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's great that you're doing the Chatham too, because, that's where it's going, right?
Well, and that's,
The waste, yeah.
our new assistant on the wastewater side, came from Chatham, and he's very familiar with all of the programming that Dustin did for the Chatham plan, and is excited to be able to incorporate that into our system.
It's great.
So, does anybody have a motion to approve this contract?
So moved, Madam Chairman.
I'll second.
And I'll take a roll call vote. Alan?
Aye. See, Dan's leaving, I gotta have something here.
He's not going far. I'll kidnap him anytime.
And I have your cell phone, and I have your cell phone.
You have your cell phone. And I will physically outpower him, although he is taking jujitsu, so he might have a chance.
Intimate
He's
knowledge.
still little.
I don't know.
Judith?
You see those guys in action, man, they'll make
John?
a big tree fall.
A vote on the motion to approve the contract?
Yes.
Gary?
Yes.
And I'm an aye, so that's 5-0.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Okay,
Did you need me for anything else? You good?
All right, before you go.
Yes, sir.
Just so you know, don't get any ideas about changing jobs.
Yeah, that guy.
No.
Nothing like Steve.
This EDR thing is my baby, so I'm doing Jack's job. I'm running the whole show over there, so trust me, I ain't going
Well,
anywhere.
if you're looking
Hold
fine,
your jaw.
if you're looking for
Please,
fine
please.
print now, you'll find that you've been locked in for 10 years, so.
Always the fine print comes back to me. Thank you, everybody, so much.
Thank you. Okay, so next topic is a very sad topic because we need to discuss,
Madam Chairman,
yes,
I don't think we should be in this predicament.
I know,
The guy that's here should stay here.
yeah.
I don't think he should be able to leave.
Well, in the charter, there's nobody who can actually let him go, so maybe that appointment was for life, we could argue that position,
Yeah, the fine print.
Yeah, the fine
Yeah,
print.
I don't know how his family might feel about that, Alan.
That's not what we're worried about.
Let's get him a waterfront property and,
That's it.
Well, the parking lot could be waterfront
That's
today
right,
with the
that's
right,
right.
We can find plenty of
a
palms.
couple of noodles and, a grill and it'll be fine.
Now we got
Oh, I wish it could go that way, I wish it could go that way. However,
now we've had that moment of abuse, I think we can get back to it.
all right. So the topic is the water wastewater superintendent job description and posting. So, shall I start? Okay, why not? So, I did have a couple of quick phone calls with Dan and with Gary. And the first thing I'm going to say on this topic is that I feel that we should get Dan in his resignation letter kindly offered to help us out for a bit of time here and there as possible on issues. And I think our first order of business is to get him under contract one way or the other for those services. I did check with ethics because there was some concerns about the, after you quit the 1 year, the forever ban and all that stuff. And they were kind enough to call me back twice in
Not
2 days,
quit,
which is,
leave. There's a difference. Not quit, leave.
okay. They were kind enough to, get back to me really quickly, which was, I was thrilled with. And it seems as though we have the right and authority to go ahead and make an arrangement with Dan, whether it's as a new type of employee, on an interim basis, or even if we hired him as a contract employee, if we said, up to such and such money, $8,000 an hour, things like that, So, and they are gonna send that, the ethics board is gonna send that in writing. It does take a few weeks, and it will go to Dan, because the only reason they talked to me was I was calling with Dan's permission. It's Dan's issue. Dan would be the one who would be fined if there was anything wrong in the way we did, not us. So, they really didn't care what we did. So at any rate, at least we have that information. So, I'm gonna suggest that, well, if we go the contract route, it sounds easy, but then the person, would have to have their own liability insurance policy. And that could run with his degrees and it's his expensive education, and credentials, that could cost $5,000, $6,000, $7,000. Or maybe less if we limited it to 3 months, but the ideal way to go would be to make him some kind of other employee for a few months, some, consulting, special employee, actual employee of the town. Then there's no insurance requirements or anything else. So, Chair Gary, you had mentioned to me that the chair of the select board called you the other day, Julie Kavanaugh, and said that if we needed any help in any way, to let her know, and they would be, she would be happy to accommodate. So I'm hoping that the first thing we do is that you contact Julie, the chair, and say, we want to lock Dan into an interim contract for a few months, not a contract, a new employee status for a few months, and we would like, Julie, for you to remove any obstacles. We'd like this done as quickly as possible. We'd rather not have arguments about which salary lines or expense lines it's taken out of. We have funds on both sides of our operation, a little more in wastewater than water, but nevertheless. And we would rather not have to hear about job posting structures and things like that. We would like to get this done. So that's what I'm hoping you'll do, Gary.
So, just to clarify,
Yes.
Julie reached out and offered the select board's support in the writing or rewriting or posting of the job description.
Oh, yeah.
And she offered up Megan to help implement that. So not so much Julie, but Megan to implement how we want to proceed. So I'll reach out to Megan as far as the per diem status or
Right.
whatever we need to do to make that happen.
Great. Okay.
So in essence, what we're looking for is to have Dan on a retainer for an advisory position on existing and upcoming until.
But it wouldn't be a retainer. He'd be an employee, and he would turn in, as he worked, whether it's water or wastewater, turn it in and get paid through the town. That's better for him and for us.
You mean like a 1099?
Right. I'm not
Not
sure.
even-
No,
because
it'd be a W-2.
Even a W-2?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but that's, ethics doesn't care about that. But it would be specific to the operation of the water and the wastewater department. It would not include work on the CWMP.
Okay. So
But
this-
it's not, I'm
No,
sorry, go
no,
ahead.
go ahead.
But it's really in an advisory position in the sense that we are going to now
Yeah, I'm getting.
start. Okay.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make
Yeah.
sure that it wasn't having him here paid differently. Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna bleed back on the 10 years.
And it's going to, up front, he's gonna know how many hours he,
No,
no? Does that work?
Just bill
As
you know,
needed.
I would say, for example, town meeting, if I come down
go
for
to
town
town
meeting
meeting.
and I'm
Yeah.
there for 4 hours, I would
And it's
submit
Right.
a time card.
including your time.
We're gonna need some public hearings, there'll be other questions, so it'll just be what,
Yeah.
because I was talking to Dan, and he's gonna get tired of this. I've done 2 jobs at once before, and
Yeah.
after a month or so, I mean, right now, he wants to help us, he wants to do everything, but he's gonna, a month or so from now, he's gonna wanna be with the new.
You know, a month in transition is like a pile of diamonds.
Yeah,
I mean, how many times you see somebody leave?
right,
You don't get that
Right.
opportunity.
yeah,
And you're kind of finding your way again.
yeah,
But when you can bring the history book along,
yeah,
it makes life easier.
right.
And I would hope that the hourly or whatever it's gonna be structured as is significant, and that Dan can, keep his, a few hours open over the next 3 or 4 months, because I don't think 1 month is gonna cut it. But
Like-
he should be compensated at a very high rate, because his knowledge is superior to anything that we could hire right now. I agree?
We already bought that knowledge.
Yeah.
Okay, so, on that note,
Paid for well, yeah, on that note.
on that note, which we don't have to determine today, you may have difficulty getting a proper rate because there are other employees in the town who might not be thrilled to see somebody getting $8,000 an hour, you know.
Well, then maybe we should consider
well,
taking him on as a consultant and
just-
making sure that he receives enough compensation so that he can go and get that insurance. Because we need to not be arguing about this stuff.
I didn't even finish my sentence, never mind arguing.
Okay.
So all I wanted to say was that those things, Dan has kindly offered to work for us. I'm not going to let an argument over whether it's $100, $200, $300 an hour prevent us from getting that work. You know, we need him. And if somebody wants to take his wage and divide it by 40, I mean, I don't know, you know, I just don't know what to say, you know. They'd be hiring Dan, we'd be hiring Dan, Dan's the employee, it's his input, you know, but, you know, I don't want anything to delay it. That's what I care about. You know, if you're looking for a high rate, that could turn into meetings and discussions, and then in the meantime, we have nothing, you know, so.
I'm not going there.
Now, let's just play it out.
Yeah, exactly, yeah,
That can all be resolved at some point.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Okay, so, so Gary is
We're ready.
taking that guy. So now for part 2, which is the posting of the job description for the water wastewater superintendent. So, there's some lines that I had some concerns about. I reviewed the last one, but not too many. I mean, it's a well-written thing. We just want to make sure, I mean, I understand everything in it, but we want to make sure that this covers the operation of the existing wastewater department, nothing to do with the town comprehensive wastewater management program, nothing to do with the sewer pipe in West Harwich, nothing to do with helping somebody figure out where their curb stop goes to connect, nothing to figure out if they should dig up their rose bush as opposed to digging up their driveway. Yeah,
Who put this together?
this is the, which one, what are you looking at? Yeah, this is his job description.
Who
From
put
when I
it
was
together?
hired.
From
This
when
is-
you were hired, this
yeah,
is the original,
this is-
okay.
Yeah.
There haven't been any changes.
Yeah. But, so at any rate, because, you know, that's the way the next person is gonna have to operate. It was wonderful that Dan did all those extra things for all those years, probably a mistake in retrospect, but, this is where we are today.
That's your feeling.
Yeah,
Huh?
That was great.
I think it was great too. The treasurer.
Oh, good job.
Okay. So, how do we want to proceed? Do we want to go through this line by line now? Do we want to talk about, I mean, I would think we would want to get this posted as soon as possible. I'm suggesting we post it simultaneously with inside and outside people. We double-checked a couple of things, that seems to be all right, and I don't think we have any wastewater, well, I shouldn't say that, we have people in our own department, so it certainly has to be posted internally, but I'm hoping we can do it simultaneously.
I think you're ready to go.
I agree, I just would ask, if you're comfortable, Dan, commenting, is there anything in your experience that should be?
Yeah, I guess a couple thoughts. Right now, the town of Harwich does not have a wastewater treatment plant. With any luck, we won't ever have a wastewater treatment plant. Well, I think it would be good or convenient for the person to have the wastewater treatment license. I would say that that should probably be a desired, you know, thing,
Add-on.
as opposed to
Right.
because if someone doesn't have it, they can't get it while they're working here, because they would have to work at a wastewater treatment facility to get the years of service to be eligible for the license. So if they have it, great, there's some knowledge that comes with that, but if we're not gonna have a treatment plant, I don't think it would make sense to exclude a prospective, employee, a good candidate,
Right.
because of that.
On that, so let's say it goes the other way, and 12 years from now, we do build our own water treatment plant. Would this person then need that knowledge?
In my opinion,
Yeah,
I don't, just as the same as, yes, I have my water licenses, right, but I'm not the guy out there operating the water system.
right,
I don't put, I'm not the one who signs the reports or adjusts the process chemistries. That is, Dana.
mm-hmm,
If we do build a plant, it's going to have a licensed lead operator.
I see.
And that is not
Okay.
going to be the superintendent.
yeah,
So,
okay, yep.
you know,
Well, let's move that on the fourth page on the things, and we'll make that desired.
Would it make sense to have like a lower grade?
No.
Just the introductory?
no, because at the end of the day, if we do build a plant, it's likely gonna need to be a grade 6 or 7 plant for denitrification, so, but I think if it's desired, it gives you the flexibility to, at your discretion. Sorry, I'm just trying to
Okay.
think of other.
So, well, I'll add on from our conversation, on page 2, number 7, without reading the whole bit of it, it talks about being ready for new and replacement water and wastewater facilities, and I understand that that means like a new pump station within our own area, but we have to firm up the language to make sure people don't take that to mean a new wastewater facility that they're building and designing in North Harwich. If it's something that's needed for the existing Phase 2, or when we get to Phase 3, fine. So Dan had a couple of ideas about making that language stricter. Like one could be that, you do these things for existing areas within the connected areas, or for completed phases, or for phases that are flowing, anything like
Yeah,
that.
completed phases.
And Dan also had an idea of maybe putting a line in the beginning that says something like, notwithstanding anything else, that this person's supervision and work is only done in the areas, completed areas of sewering.
We could actually clip out paragraph, I believe it's 662 from the charter that states that
Oh, yeah.
CWMP in
Yeah.
its design, construction, and implementation are responsible for select board and the town administrator.
Right,
So that
yeah,
would
yeah,
basically state that
right.
if it's relating to that,
Mhm. And then, of course,
Good idea.
the few places that say water will change to water wastewater. What are you guys laughing about?
I just said,
Gary, how do you control this crowd?
You got an elbow.
It's usually you that's the problem.
Where are you? Are you on your way here? So- Well, it sounds like we're all of like mind.
Yeah.
If the board is okay with Dan's advice, just making a couple of little wordsmithing, only to firm it up more, to tighten it up more, not to broaden it in any way. Then we'll work on that and get it ready to go out for posting.
And just a quick
Yeah.
question, just to refresh my feeble brain. So the pay grade, are you an M8 now?
So,
Yes.
appreciate that you brought that up.
Yeah.
I would say, acknowledging recent years' discussions about the pay of this position, I would still recommend this board continue to pursue regrading it,
I see.
because it still is, just as a water superintendent alone, underpaid compared to the surrounding municipalities. But
And-
I don't know that you'd be able to effectuate that change
Right.
prior to bringing someone on board. I think you'd be, I mean, you guys tried 2 years in a row and
With
were
somebody
met
we
with
knew.
nothing, so but I would say, you know, as you move forward over the next couple of years, that should continue to be a discussion.
The pay range also strikes me as too low. And
Well-
my understanding from the charter, the town's charter, is that we, as a board, can make these,
I don't know.
Yeah,
can we change those? Does anybody know?
I'm gonna go with.
I don't know.
Through
No.
town meeting.
Through town meeting? That gets approved through town meeting?
I don't know. I'm not saying it
That's
does or
for
it
all-
doesn't.
All pay scales.
After
come
2
to
years
town
of
meeting.
arguing, I don't
Well,
know.
it
Gets a vote.
boils down
It's
to,
funded.
the pay scale is within the personnel bylaw
Currently.
pay schedule, which is under the jurisdiction of the select board.
Yep.
So nothing can happen to that pay schedule or
As is.
personnel bylaw without approval of the select board.
So I would just suggest that we, as a body, ask the select board to quickly review this and adjust it, given what the neighboring towns have on there, so
So,
that we can find somebody.
okay, so I'm gonna go against that thought because we have a gentleman who we knew his value, and we fought for 2 solid years and longer to even get as much as a $5,000 raise at one point, and we weren't successful. And at that time, that person was not just doing, you know, it's funny, the reason this job description works, it shows you how much more out of his job Dan was doing.
Yes.
Because we don't have to change a single word to get what was intended to begin with. But at any rate, we tried to get those small raises and more importantly too, accreditation, you know, for what was being done. Wrong word, but you know what I mean. But at any rate, now we'd be asking for the way it's perceived from outside for somebody doing 2/3 of the job to get a higher raise. And I agree that we need higher raises, but I firmly believe in doing them the bottom-up way, which is, I know Dan has some information on local towns and their salaries. We can do our own studies. I don't want to go into anything blind, you know. We can do our own studies on what Brewster makes, Chatham makes, Wareham makes, and everything else. But we failed with, you know, with somebody we knew for 10 years, so I have no hopes of seeing the town raise this, and again, I think it would just delay us. So I think we should do it, but not in advance of posting this position.
What happens if we don't get people applying?
Well, that's always a risk.
I think you will.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
that salary?
Okay.
And the reality is, I think most people walking into the job know that they're not gonna be
Right.
coming in at the top
Anyway.
anyway.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I would recommend acknowledging that the salary is low.
Yeah.
When you guys do make an offer, I
Right.
would recommend it be at the higher end of the steps
Mhm.
to account for, you know, but,
Yeah, depending on what the individual brings.
yeah.
Yeah. I
Did- how did we ever straighten out your truck? Did we get you a truck, not get you a truck? What did we do?
Yeah,
He's good for-
yeah.
Okay.
We
So
have
you'll have to
Steve's
use-
truck now.
You'll have to use a scooter when you,
Yeah.
Excellent. So, I guess that's it. So, any other discussion? Any other comments?
Yes,
Yes, Gary?
just to clarify, did someone mention something about the truck that Dan is driving?
Yeah, I asked if he had a truck.
Right, so that, well, he does now, but that wasn't part of the original,
I
his
know.
original offer. So I just want to clarify that. So whoever's coming in will have the vehicle to drive at the department, but not on a take-home basis.
At the department. I thought he said at his
At the
apartment.
No,
At the department.
no.
My ears.
Once he's here, you can take the truck.
Yeah, I gotcha. Well, I mean, I think that's fine for now, because we don't know yet where the person's living, or, you know, any of those things, you know. They-
Well,
I would-
my point being, we gave Dan a couple of stipulations because of the quality of work and the amount of work he was doing, that someone coming in is going to be starting off the same place Dan started off at. That's the point I'm just trying to make.
Yep,
I think they need a vehicle though, I mean, for emergency purposes.
Yeah.
And and whoever that person is will have a vehicle to drive at the department. I'm just saying it will not be on a take-home basis
right.
right out of the gate. That's all I'm saying.
What are you thinking, John?
No, we don't need that discussion now,
Right.
you know? No,
He might wind up living across the street, you know.
we don't know,
Sounds like a river in the wind.
I would recommend leaving it open to negotiation.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That, you know,
Yeah.
as much as I had to earn it.
Right.
all right, so it sounds like we're gonna say that we'll make, you know, a few things to make this even stronger, and then proceed with posting it. Everybody happy with that?
And I just to confirm, or I guess codify, that the board would like applications sent to Tracy, acting as board secretary.
Right.
Or, I don't know how they label it in the job description, but just so that, I think that's how it was when I,
I think it's in
That's
there.
how-
It's in there.
yeah, it is,
yeah.
but just
Yeah.
that's,
Yep,
Yeah.
yeah, we want them to go to Tracy.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Should do the higher ed?
Now, this
You
says,
do, yeah.
this says resumes must be received by April 23rd. That seems awfully close to
well,
me.
2015, this was the,
Oh, 2015?
we're way
No
beyond.
wonder we're behind on everything.
Yeah.
That's funny. So we should think about how the board feels in terms of comfort with a date. We're not gonna make it by Dan's last day, but hopefully we'll have that other arrangement.
You could go play it by ear, see what comes.
I don't know about that. Play it by ear business.
I don't know about you.
Doesn't sound legal to me.
Oh, do you mean not to put an end date? A closing date?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it means
On the
that
posting.
to put, open until
Well,
higher?
please submit resumes by,
Such
Yeah.
and such.
yeah.
So should we assume that we can possibly get this somewhat posted by the end of next week, maybe?
Unless,
We might not make the Chronicle because of their early date, but we can make all the others.
yeah, I mean, unless we're given a reason we can't. I would
Right,
say there's
I
nothing-
see what you mean,
There's no
right,
reason that.
yeah. So should Barry, as a separate thing, or maybe we should just whip up our changes and send them up to Megan.
Well, yeah, maybe I can work to update these two documents
Right.
with the changes discussed. I can get these to Gary so that he can send those off to Megan.
Right,
You know, to discuss next steps.
yeah, okay. But the only thing seems like we should have a little input on, as I say, would be the date that they go out by. So just for assumption, let's say that this goes out by the 12th. How many weeks do you think these should, you know, he's got the list of the MMA, the this, the that, the other thing. How many weeks do you think? I mean, if we get no applicants, then we put it out again, you know. But I don't like the open-ended to start with, because I've been in positions where, you know, towns have said, oh, that's still open, and then, but they don't tell everybody. I don't know, to me, I'm uncomfortable with it, you know. I'm happy to put it out again when the posting ends, you know, myself. I mean, I think at least 3 weeks it's gotta be. What do you guys think?
What, for me, either way, couple weeks, 3 weeks, fine.
What's that? Oh, till the date, till the end date?
Yeah,
I'd say a month.
well, a month isn't unreasonable by any means, so that would be
I could go for that.
three,
This will have more applicants.
that would be May 10th. I mean, I'm not firming a date, I'm just getting a range.
Not bad.
No, it's not bad, really.
And so then, my only question would be, your assistants, will they be able to operate fully? And
Absolutely.
you're just at the end of the phone if needed?
Yeah.
Once we get that arrangement.
Because, yeah, I mean,
These people
we'd
are my
love to
friends, I'm
have
not
you
gonna
here.
leave them hanging.
Exactly. Gotta cut that cord,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Okay, so we'll say, I mean, 4 weeks sounds more than reasonable. The applicants too have to take some time to watch some meetings and get to know us and see if they really want to come here.
Let me ask, can I have one
Sure.
question? So, if an application comes in the first, like, week or two, that looks great, are we gonna wait until the end of the month, or do we use language that allows for flexibility? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. What are your views? What did you guys do
I don't know.
8 years ago, 9 years ago?
No, we didn't have a horde of people
Right.
come and run it. And it was a decade ago.
Yeah, things have
To
changed.
think about
Yeah,
that.
I shouldn't have hit you with that one. What'd you have for breakfast?
Right.
Yeah,
That's
This is all in person, it's not hybrid, right?
I don't know. I mean, I'm,
It's a different generation.
my view doesn't rule, but I'm always on the side of being really strict with rules, you know. Too many years of government work is what you're seeing here, 22 years of government work. And so personally, I wouldn't open one application over another, but that's me, and I go to the strict side, you know, because I would have people saying to me, well, I don't know, you had that other one 3 weeks, you were meeting with them, were you talking with them, you know, I mean, that's just how I am.
you know,
I'm just throwing the question
Yeah.
out there. I'm
Yeah.
not saying
Yeah.
one way or the other, I'm just, I don't know in today's world.
Hey, Noreen,
Hey, yeah,
I gotta go, I'm sorry.
okay, I'll talk to you.
Thanks.
Call me when it's convenient sometime,
All right, thank you.
not necessarily today. Bye, Gary.
What did we have, when you were hired, did we have 3 candidates?
I knew of myself and Neil and the other guy, the wastewater guy from,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, I think that's all we had.
but I don't know, I wasn't here.
No, no, yeah.
Well, you know, the
Yeah.
main,
Is that all you had, or is that all you interviewed? Is that all that
No,
came in
different
or
roles.
inter?
No, we interviewed everybody
He's a good
that
guy.
applied.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
This is another one I'm gonna suggest that doesn't have to be decided today. The main thing is to get it posted, and then at one of our next meetings, we can sit down and say, well, we're gonna meet on this day to open things, and then we're gonna meet on this day to make a schedule for interviews, and then we're gonna, you know, so maybe wait and see. We might not have anything in advance anyway, so.
Yeah, one thing for sure, you're not gonna have a crowd of people.
Right.
Gonna be
Yeah.
tough spot.
Yeah, well, I mean,
We
we'll,
should not
we'll have to
do
open them up first to see if they're, you know, if we have the right credentials and stuff like that. And then there's, you know, a stage of checking out backgrounds, and, you know, we gotta do some homework too, so.
Yeah. So
That's why I'm not inclined to do homework on one before I,
do them all at
Yeah,
once.
yeah,
No, I
yeah.
appreciate that.
As long as we have Dan on contract for his advice, or, I shouldn't keep saying on contract, but, you know, on the hook.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so we'll get this posted anyway, and sad to say, that's that. On that one.
If you
So,
change your mind, you wanna reapply,
Put the flags
Open
on
until
the
filled,
half.
yeah.
yeah,
Open till filled, that's the phrase. Open till filled.
And then it gets posted once and never seen again.
Open until Dan comes back.
yeah. So, next item is the Consumer Confidence Report.
So this is the annual Consumer Confidence Report. This covers all of the water quality sampling and details the results of anything that was detected in the calendar year of 2023. It also identifies going back to prior years before 2023 for any contaminants that we don't sample for annually. For example, lead and copper, you'll see the dates collected are in 2021. We are on a 3-year cycle for lead and copper. We're going to be having to do it again this year. Is it this year? Yeah, this year. So those will get updated for the next CCR. But we continue to have excellent water quality. Most everything is non-detex. We're not required to put non-detex in the report, but I think if we didn't, we wouldn't really have much of a report to furnish. So I think it's good to demonstrate that we are sampling for things and they're coming back non-detected.
I think this is the biggest annual report we've had. My God.
A lot of it, honestly, is standard language that we're
Yeah.
unable to modify without written request to DEP.
So, who collects all this information? But then, what government agency? Who did you send
So
this to?
this is a requirement to prepare and distribute to the residents of Harwich on an annual basis.
Oh, well, that's
Yeah,
what.
we satisfy
I didn't
that.
recognize it, you're
Yeah.
right, because it's so much
Yeah.
bigger.
Yeah.
Okay, yep,
We report to DEP a certification form with, you know, this document, all the various locations in town that we have to publicly post it, the link that the document is hosted on our website, because we
Gotcha.
do electronic distribution to our bills, as opposed to mailing this to everybody.
okay.
So,
No, I got fooled like Alan did. Great. Thank you, Dana. Thank you, collectors. Thank you, everybody involved. And, you do an awful lot of work. That's all I can say.
and it's, I wish that this could actually show the stack of results.
I can't
that
imagine.
get boiled down
Yeah.
into just those couple,
Yep.
you know, tables, but.
Well, I'll admit my secret, since I'm more of a numbers person, obviously, it's things like this that I glance at in our town report before I speak to the public at all, or otherwise it's to refresh my brain on how much you all do, so. You have one very happy customer. All right, Q3 billing.
All right.
So,
Do you want to intro?
So it was a successful reading period. Our troubleshoots are just incredibly low, which just shows the amount of work that has gone into really focusing in on getting rid of the trouble meters out there,
oh,
so that we can send actual bills instead of estimations. So thanks to the meter program, we can actually continue to change those out. But I believe in all of my time here, this is the lowest amount of, or the fewest troubleshoot accounts that we've ever had.
that's wonderful.
When I started here, we literally had stacks of work orders with troubleshoots, hundreds.
Months.
Yes, months,
Months.
and hundreds and hundreds. And at this count, I think we're down to 37. So, it's tremendous, yes.
Wow.
I had to look at it again,
I
I'm
used
like,
to do that,
wow. And, you know, obviously, it's impossible to always, you know, to get that at 100, because there'll always be meters that have to be changed out for one reason or another. But it's just really satisfying to see the work that has gone into changing meters out and investigating has really paid off. It's taken a long time, but we're there, and hopefully we can continue the trend. For these bills, I just approved to them today. They are expected to go out into the mail next week. Piggybacking onto the CCR, the notice is on our bills, and the paperless customers are also going to be notified, but with a link to the CCR, so that they can go in, and that link is now live. So, yeah, it's up and running and available for everyone. And, it's not good. It's been a good read period. So, few leakers,
Great.
as per the norm, but overall, we didn't have too many really bad leak customers, fortunately. We did have a few freeze-ups, a few frozen meters, but, you know, we usually have a handful, but for this period, I believe it was only 2 or 3. So it's expected if people don't turn their water off for the season. But, yeah, all in all, it was a good quarter.
Great.
If I can see, they wouldn't have got that if I tried to cover that subject. I would just add that from a revenue perspective, at least on the water side, we were within $13,000 of our revenue projection. So
Thank
we're
goodness.
right on track.
Great. Okay, next item is the statistical report.
So this is currently in process. I'm
Okay.
going to be wrapping it up between today and Monday, because it is due Monday, but it's the annual report, and I can include a copy in the next board packet that just details system-wide, really the whole water system, as far as pump stations, pumping, how much we billed, our unaccounted for water, all those sorts of things. So I will have that for the next meeting.
Okay. So, superintendent's report.
So just, I will email out an updated graph of the lens, but I did check the other day and we are rocketing upward, as you can imagine with all this rain. So things are trending in the right direction for our peak season.
So, we had looked before, but it doesn't seem like there'll be any need to alert the public yet, or,
With the way things have been trending, I
Right.
would, yeah, I would not.
I mean, sometimes I see 10 inches and you tell me it only
Yeah.
went up that much, so I mean, you know.
Yeah, no, I mean, this has been pretty
Yeah,
nonstop,
okay.
yeah.
Yeah, all right, great.
The vernal pool over near my house is going up a little bit.
Yeah. It's gonna be a vernal pond before you know it. Yeah. And then next under mine was just as if you haven't seen the signs out, the crews are out flushing. doing the spring flushing, so that is,
You see the dust in the toilet.
yeah.
All right. Not superintendent's, commissioners report. Alan,
No, I'm good.
Judith,
Just that because I'm not as active on some social media as others in town, and that's for the benefit of our select board liaison. I just wanted to say that I received an extraordinary number of calls and text messages about the article in the Chronicle with Dan, and people were very sad, but so pleased with all the work you've done and appreciative. But I was, maybe I should start my own column. But the amount of people that reached out, so
no, that's nice
that's
to
it. Yeah,
hear.
it was nice.
Yeah. John,
All set?
you're all set, and Gary's gone. So I'm last, and I just have one little item, and I'm gonna ask the superintendent to get lost for a few minutes, so I'll come breaking any open meeting rules.
I'm not elected.
I don't care. So, not that this would be a surprise anyway, and this is only a draft, so here's one for Wellesley, but I was thinking this is just an idea, so, anybody wants to chime in, please do. My thoughts were, here's another one too. If you want another one. My thoughts were that we don't want him, this is not meant to be a surprise, I just didn't want him sitting here for the nitty-gritty, because you can't have surprises in town. But I don't want him to walk out of the building with nothing. And anything, involving getting involved with the town, to me, just gets too complicated at this point. So I was thinking we just have something down right here on a Thursday or Friday afternoon, whatever's better for people. Like I say, coffee with Dan, and somehow let people know through social media and sending stuff to department heads or whatever ways we can think of. And that way, by going to or it could even be 5, but to cover the people that have to work, that can't say I'm going down to Dan's, and just have coffee and some muffins and cupcakes, maybe simple.
I'll bake.
Yeah, oh, sure. But I mean, not like edible, not like a meal type food, nothing complicated like that. I have no domestic talents whatsoever. So, I just want to make that crystal clear. But what do you think?
I think it's I'm away the 18th, so.
Well, I prefer the 19th. I was just thinking, what do you think?
I'm good with-
What do you think, Alan?
I'm thinking,
What?
a coffee with Dan at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. That's headed to dinner time.
Think earlier in the day?
Earlier in the day,
Well, we could do that, but I was trying to capture the workers, if you work at the library, what are you gonna say? Jenny, I'm going down to have coffee with Dan, so that was part of was thinking.
Is this his last day?
No,
Okay.
because the week afterwards is just gonna be hell crazy.
Right.
He's got 1 week after that, and next week seems too soon, so that's the only reason I picked
Yeah.
that day. It's just an idea. I mean, we don't have to do anything, but I can't abide that,
I agree. It'd be nice to also, if we commissioners can chip in and make him like a sweatshirt or, some kind of.
Well, that was my next question anyway. We'll probably split the cost of this,
Absolutely.
I
Absolutely.
think we can, it won't be a large bill.
So I have a practical question.
Yeah.
Fridays at 3, from the department
Is this a-
perspective, is that a crazy hour?
Is this a Friday?
It's a
These
Friday.
guys go home at 11:30
Oh.
on Friday, so.
Oh, right.
Oh, well, we'll change that time. Yeah, no, that's why this
You wanna
is,
come back at 3? Probably not, yeah.
Well-
Morning coffee and, you
it's
know,
fine. I mean, this was just,
Yeah,
this is
yeah.
draft. But, what time do they go home, 12?
11:30.
Depending on what, it's either 12:30 or 11:45.
Okay.
Depending on
How
if
crazy that
that's
is.
Patriots Day week.
It is.
So we would have Monday off, so we make up the time from Monday, so it'd be 12:30.
Okay,
probably,
around
if
12:30.
my timing is correct.
Yeah.
Because I believe that,
So-
that we're off.
So that's the beginning of a long weekend, so they.
No, it's the end of the 15th is Patriots Day.
Oh, the Monday, okay.
Yeah. So maybe we say, noon to 2. And that way, town workers, if there were town workers in other parts of the town, they could say they were going on their lunch hour. Something like, cover it that way.
Most of the town leaves it,
What, dear?
most of the town leaves at 12 anyway.
Well, I can't
So that's
follow them all,
perfect. That's perfect.
Um,
No, you keep going.
Keep going?
Better.
I'm doing better, okay.
Take the time.
So let's say, all right, so let's say tentatively, say noon to 2. And then if we're all having a good time sitting around at 2, we can sit here till 3.
Um,
But if nobody's here, then we can leave at 2, Does that sound all right?
What do you think?
Yeah, that's a lunchtime. So that people are working all day, they don't have their lunch, right?
Oh, we
Have
could
a
do a
lunch, yeah.
brown bag with
Lunch, yeah.
Dan? How about brown bag with Dan? Bring your lunch.
I know, that's
Have
too
a coffee.
complicated for me with food, yeah, I
Well,
mean.
no, I mean, people, if they have to eat, can come and eat. Otherwise, we can provide them with coffee and cookies and
Yeah,
desserts. I can bake cupcakes.
no, I know that, but the brown bag was what threw me, but,
Well,
yeah.
in case somebody is giving up their lunch hour, they can,
Yeah, they can bring whatever they want and eat it, yeah. I'm not
You
gonna,
guys eat in the trucks or
I'm-
walk around?
I'm not gonna search their bags.
And we have dessert.
Yeah, we're-
We'll supply the
His choice
dessert.
of
Yeah, exactly.
What, honey?
It's his choice he's leaving.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna search their lunch bags. Well, I mean,
just say, how about like coffee and desserts for Dan? From
well, I mean,
11:30 to 1:30, drop in when you can.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it says stop by and wish Dan
Yeah.
good luck, And I'm not gonna tell them about desserts. If they wanna come, they come and they get a dessert, I
Gotta
mean.
put food out there, that always gets.
I can't,
They're
why
gonna come
entice
anyway.
them? If they wanna come, I mean, whatever. But we can have it down here, we can put maybe, Leslie, maybe some stuff on tables in that room, and then people can mingle in here.
Just as I thought, all the guys do leave early on Fridays.
Right,
So if we were to do like maybe an 11:30 to 1:30 or something like that, it would give them the opportunity to come in as well. If
Yeah.
it's too late, they're not gonna probably come back.
Yeah.
right. No,
Put food out
no,
there.
Yeah,
Food-
Yeah.
Food's a good thing.
refreshment.
Refreshments, yeah.
yeah,
That way,
okay. I can live with refreshments. I like to stay away from the word food. actually. All right, so let's move it back to 11:30. Say 11:30 to 2?
1:30,
Okay.
Now, you can only say so much to him.
yeah.
Get the hell out.
Be available for consultation.
I don't know how you're gonna do the minutes for this section, Chris. Good luck, that's all I can say. All right, with the board's permission, and I'll be in touch with I sent you an email, but I'm not even sure what is your right email.
I have so many emails.
That's what I mean, so
When did
can you write down your right email so I can, or your phone number, or some way to get in touch with you?
Give me your phone number, text me, that's the best.
But with your permission, I will work with Tracy, Wellesley, and Sandy to get something going,
Yeah,
and we'll figure out some miracle way to get the information around. around town, well, I warn them in advance, you know, yeah.
And,
Okay, great. 4581.
I will bake.
Yeah, no, I wanna get you, committed to that.
Come back that Thursday night, so I'll get up very early Friday. I'll be at Texas.
Well, I won't bake, that's clear, you know, so just so we're crystal clear on that. You know. All right, so I'll be in touch with Judith
Yeah.
and the rest of you.
Yeah, we can get the, what do you call them, like Dunkin' Donuts has
Yeah.
the boxes of dough.
We'll have Dan pick it up.
We will not. We'll get coffee and we'll get hot chocolate. Yeah,
Yeah.
this will be fun.
All right, I'm glad you like the idea, and, you know, you have to do something, and that'll be nice and down here.
Should I get Dan back in?
Oh, I forgot about him.
Yeah. Turn the thing over so he doesn't.
See how quickly we move on, you know? We cried last week, this week, it's just like, Dan, who?
You know what? I don't think we should let him go.
I think, yeah.
You have expressed that, yeah.
Yeah, damn it.
Well, like, when you hired him, why didn't you say it was a lifetime appointment? Like the Supreme Court, you know? Alan just told us that when you were hired, it was a lifetime appointment like the Supreme Court.
Perfect, they don't have to show up, just keep the checks coming.
Oh, yeah, you said that.
They're just gonna turn the Red River Beach right over to
Yeah.
you, the whole thing.
Sure.
You know what? You developed a lot of nerve in 10 years you've been hanging.
I know. Remember that
I
quiet
think
kid?
we need to get the nerve out and stick around.
Yeah.
Damn.
Okay, so next meeting, now the question is, are we gonna need extra meetings during this transition period? I don't really think we need one next week, Dan, do you? I mean, if we're getting the thing posted, we've got their permission to tweak a couple of words and go ahead and communicate. So maybe we just go ahead and make one for the week of the 15th. Well, we might have something on that Friday, but we need a meeting anyway, because don't you think we need a meeting?
Well, we'll probably be good.
Second we can have them. We're gonna need them every second we can have
I
them.
know it, yeah, that's true. Yeah, I don't want you spending time preparing stuff for us. So should we make one on the 18th, or? I know you just said you're
I
away.
won't be here, but
Yeah,
I'll be in the air, so I won't be able to call.
yeah, it's gonna be strange times for a while.
I mean, the following week, I hate to push it out to last week, but, yeah. If you wanted to wait till you were back.
Well,
The following, sometime, will you send me the information on the split on the bids and the time of the bid openings the following week? Because I want to go to those. I'm just thinking, if you have things that have to be approved or signed, you mentioned we might need a public hearing for grease traps.
Oh, yeah. So we now have 400 connected to, I believe it's 400 each connected to sewer. Stop and Shop's gonna be coming online. So we do need to start initiating our monthly grease trap inspection program.
yeah.
Typically, that has a cost associated with it. I know in Chatham, they charge $75 per inspection, but we presently only have, a $50 service order charge on our, rates and fee schedule, which is, I would argue, has been historically like a water
Yeah.
service charge. So if I think it may be appropriate to do the rate hearing to adopt a charge specific for the grease trap inspections.
Okay,
I would also probably, if we're going to go that route, probably make sense to talk with John to see if there's any other recurring sewer-related services that the department will
Yep.
be charging for, so we could do it all in one fell
Right.
swoop.
so for the layperson, the grease traps, are they mostly in restaurants and
Yeah,
things like that,
yeah,
commercial
restaurant.
buildings? And would they, once they're going forward, would they be once a year inspections?
Monthly.
Monthly?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, they can get nasty.
We wanna
Oh,
make sure
yeah.
the grease doesn't get into the sewer.
Because that could really
Okay.
mess things up.
He will call.
Causes big
So,
problems.
whatever fee it is, it's a monthly fee?
Yeah.
Okay. So, all right, monthly, so that sounds like a lot,
Yeah.
Is it? Yeah.
that sounds like a fair amount of labor.
I would be happy to have John come in
Uh-huh.
and go through, only because I don't have the experience.
Yeah. Okay, well, we'll hear from him at, some point, maybe not today, but at any rate, I'm just bringing up things that we're gonna have to talk about in the next few weeks, so the reason we need meetings, but if you don't think we need one on the 18th, Judith can't be here. What do you think? You're the one who's looking at the outline of everything we have to get done.
I know, I'm trying to piece it all together.
I know.
There's only 3
You
weeks
can
left.
Put one on,
I know.
and I can try to call in depending on where I am. I know I have like a 3-hour
Right,
layover, so.
and these are gonna be meetings just to get us through this month
Yeah.
anyway. They're gonna be, should we just put one on for the 18th and change it if we have to?
Yeah, we can. Yeah.
All right. All right, so we'll say the 18th,
May bring the kids.
okay.
Oh,
School
is it
vacation
school
week.
are you away?
No, I'm not away, but
You're not taking vacation?
I'll be in and out,
Yeah,
you know, try spreading.
You guys weren't
Alright.
taking a trip?
No, we're not going on a trip, no.
So what's the date?
18?
18.
yeah, the 18th at 11:30. But I mean, that
Judith?
won't,
You're not gonna be here, right?
Yeah, I've got, I have like a 3-hour layover, so I might be able to call in.
I mean, we're not even gonna post it for 2 weeks. We might not even, post it, which is.
Yeah, I mean, we could always, the 18th, I would say the 18th or the 25th, that we want to stick with a Thursday, depending on what comes up and when.
Yeah. I mean, the 25th, I don't even want to go near unless it's a 15-minute meeting about something that has to be voted or something like that. I mean, the day before your last day with a bid opening that day, I don't think so.
Yeah. What is that, a sewer bid opening?
Yeah, 50 million. $50 million.
Sorry for
Bid.
How
laughing.
do they do it here?
No,
wonder I
town
wrote
hall.
it down.
Huh?
Yeah.
No wonder I wrote it down.
Yeah. The big one is the 23rd.
So, but we have no say in that, correct?
No,
That's
mine is just
strictly the-
interest. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Select board.
I was at the last bid opening I was at was contract 1 and phase 2, and we know how that went, so I don't know, maybe I shouldn't go.
All right.
You know what?
I'm big
You're gonna
over
be
bid.
there for the bid opening?
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's good, I thought you, but you don't really care, because you're gonna bail out anyway.
Wow, you know.
Oh, we're gonna end this meeting. I mean, he's getting worse. You know,
Hey, I put all the
I-
contingencies in place.
I think-
Don't get him so pissed off that he doesn't give us more hours
Yeah.
after he's officially gone.
I could declare you out of order, Al.
Slam the gavel.
Yeah, get the gavel, start
I don't want to touch
swinging
the gavel. No. That's way too dangerous with the way my arms play around. All right, so we have a meeting tentatively booked. We can have one on the 18th if we need it, but if anything comes up where it's going to be a crazy month, that will be all right too. And I'll tell you one thing though, Judith.
Yep.
I'll make sure you're at the meeting, not on the phone. We should all be at the meeting when we discuss, the plan for interviewing. When things get open, when we're gonna meet people and stuff like that. I think that's important that we all agree on the right, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're not just gonna
You
tell
know
you.
what, I'm not gonna come. I only got 2 more years and I'm out of here.
So you're not gonna
So
be.
you're gonna live with it.
Now he's starting with me. Can I have a motion to adjourn? No motion to adjourn. I gotta tell Gary there's a rebellion going on. John, can I have a motion to adjourn? So moved.
Second. Yeah, I so move.
No, yeah. Well, I gotta look at these two. All right, thank you very much.